Alors bonsoir, ça ne sera pas facile de parler après cette expérience intensive et cette Video. Ich bringe einen herzlichen Gruß der Gewerkschaft Comisiones Obreras aus Barcelona, Catalunyan und Spanien. Aber ich werde auf Englisch sprechen. So, best greetings from Spain and from the unions in Spain. I was asked to bring you a little bit the perspective of the South. I would start with a metaphor. What has happened in the last years in the South is what happens to a patient who is not attended by a doctor, but the pharmaceutical industry. As you know, near to 50% of the health spending in the life of a patient is concentrated in his or her last year of life. That makes it understandable that somebody has the brilliant idea to force a dangerous illness to get the patient in this uncomfortable position. A good way for this is administering the wrong medicine to a certain illness. In the case of the European South, we experienced it as if they were giving us chemo or radiotherapy for a serious indigestion. As a result, the patient gets weaker and weaker, and his immunologic system deteriorates. This is a very good news for virus and bacteria, and for all those elements and parasites that live from corruption, exploitation, and contamination of the social and organic environments. The medicine that has been applied by the Troika in the South, also in Spain, in the framework of the bank palliate, is a kind of pain medicine that tries to promote dependency at both collective and individual level. We've seen this in Spain with the new abortion law that tries to prevent women to decide about their own body and their pregnancy. We see it also when they prevent youngsters to get quality education or a job, to emancipate, when they cut helps to persons with functional diversity, or when they deny the access to housing or the right to negotiate their own working conditions. This kind of ideology works through three axes: dismantling public initiative and social welfare, deregulating the labor market, and destroying social dialogue and collective bargaining. With this kind of policies, now you have more students in each class in Spain, in Portugal, and Greece. The timeout for mammographies in Spain, in Catalonia, double and triple. The number of workers covered by a collective agreement descend in Portugal from 1.9 million now to 300,000 workers covered by a collective agreement. The credit for enterprises and real economy disappears. Research centers are closed, and an increasing number of medium and small-sized enterprises go into bankruptcy. But this kind of medicine promoted through the Europlus Pact, the memorandums of understanding, but also when they start negotiating the purchase of public debt, as we've seen in the letters written by the ancient director of the European Central Bank, and also by the new one, don't reach their goals. It's quite the opposite. They destroy employment in the last years, 2 million in Greece, Ireland, Portugal, and Cyprus, and 1 million more in Spain, since the introduction of the last labor law reform in February 2012. They also increase public debt, 94 to 127.8% from 2010 to 2013 in Portugal, or in Spain, as you know, we had a public debt 2008 of 38%, now it's 95%. So austerity increases also social inequality, social exclusion, and poverty. In Spain, during 2013, 200 families were evicted every day. 650,000 families have no income, and 2 million of families have all their members unemployed. There appear new forms of poverty, energy poverty, water poverty, but also, as UNICEF stated, 2013, children poverty. In Spain, children poverty affects 27.2% of all the children. Unemployment, reduction of wages. In Spain, wages were descending 10%, in Greece, 23%, and increasing precariousness reduces public income, and makes it even more difficult to develop public policies. The fall of demand feeds a vicious circle that damages increasingly social and economic health and promotes migration and destruction of existing capacities. But luckily, the patient is still alive. What he or she needs to recover is a good dose of red cells, bringing oxygen to the atrophied organs, an increased production of antibodies to fight corruption, tax evasion in Spain, 90 billion, and finally, a strong portion of green medicine. Spain and also Catalonia had an interesting competitive position in the area of green energy, in its production, but also in technological development and innovation. The crisis and the energy laws and policies have penalized own consumption, the production of renewable energies, and small and medium enterprises who were concentrating biggest part of this production. This played an important role. Also that lobbies and the right policies make it now very difficult to change our growth model and to use green economy to create decent jobs and to recover the industrial muscle in a high added value branch. We, and that means the workers, and that means unions, and that means the biggest part of the citizenship in Europe, we are convinced that the Green New Deal proposed by the European Green Party and its green employment strategy could and needs to be something crucial for Europe. Yeah, we believe in it. Introducing it in our country would need more legal certainty because it's not possible to have capital investing if they're changing the rules every 3 months. We should also have credit facilities for medium and small-sized companies, which in Spain are giving 85% of the employment. And we need also the improving of technical capacities, not only in engineering, but also in the frame of medium and dual training, and opening specific spaces for bargaining, also in the field of renewable energies. The potential of green employment needs to be developed in the framework of decent work and introduce a new employment culture that overcomes questions like the gender gap and or the access to high-quality job in rural areas, or both, because renewable energies, green jobs, is the best way to have rural women having a high-quality job. So in this context, we think it should be possible to reach a wide majority at European level. Perhaps it's only that we wish it, but we are convinced that it should be possible. The proposal of the European Green Party is complementary with the recovery plan for sustainable growth and decent jobs presented by the European Trade Union Confederation, which is proposing a yearly investment of 2% of the European GDP for the upcoming 10 years to create 11 million of quality jobs facing the ecological, the social, and the demographic challenge. It may seem to some of you a lot of money, but please remember that in the last 5 years they were investing the double of this amount in the bank bailouts. So, let me come to the end. I'm afraid I've forgotten something. I should have warned you that the kind of indigestion, and now I'm speaking about our patient who still remains in bed, stuffed with all kinds of drugs. This kind of indigestion is contagious. It is dangerous because you share the same hospital, but you also share the same doctors. It is perfectly possible that they try to apply you tomorrow the same medicine, even if it's not an indigestion, but influenza. Therefore, we need to act together because this kind of medicine is a danger for all of us. It's unfair, it's inefficient, and it also goes against the spirit of the treaty. You can see Articles 9, 14, 151, 152, and also against the Charter of Fundamental Rights, the European Social Charter, and even against some ILO, the International Labour Organization conventions. So, the economic governance implies a dysfunction of European institutions. The decision-taking have excluded the European Parliament, always. The European Central Bank has overreached his competences. The European Commission has failed in the most important thing, that was to guarantee that the treaty was really accomplished. The space that has been vacated by the loss of legitimacy, of justice, and of cohesion has been fastly occupied by populism and the promoters of xenophobia, racism, intolerance, and anti-Europeism. That is the reason to recover the rules of the game, and first of all, the democratic rules. It is a must to make sure that the European Parliament participates in the economic governance from the beginning, that it assures that social imbalances and social indicators have the same importance as macroeconomic imbalances and macroeconomic indicators. That's a good reason to continue working together to guarantee that there is a strong green and left initiative that defines the European construction and that defines also the European future. The European Green Party has an essential role to play in the upcoming 5 years to articulate a new majority that defends sustainability and social progress. Therefore, we wish you best luck and good job, or as we say in Barcelona, molta sort y bona feina.